Welcome to the Joy of Coding.
Hello, and welcome to episode 333 of The Joy of Coding. My name is Mike Conley. It's so good to have you here. We're going to be hacking on some Firefox stuff today, going to be maybe reviewing some code, going to be writing some patches, going to maybe be writing tests for the Windows jump list stuff we've been working on for like a while now. Let's see what goes on. I'm very excited. I'm back from vacation. I'm full of energy. I'm pumped. I'm ready to go. Let's get started. All right, I'll start by sharing my screen. 1 second. So, this is today's agenda. It's July 26th, 2023, episode 333. That's a fun number. I think we're 100. That's like you only get one of these every 100 episodes. So, congratulations, everybody, on episode 333. I'll see you at 444. And my good friend, Elad Difficult. My good friend Elad Difficult is in the chat. So good to see ya. Elad, I'll be seeing you later this week. I'm really looking forward to that. Very excited. Thanks for being here. A reminder, no plan survives breakfast. I don't know how the stream's going to go. I don't know what'll happen. I might chase my tail for an hour, or we might get some stuff written, or who knows what'll happen. Big shrug. So just, that's the name of the game. I might get sidelined, I might get rat-holed, we might get a lot done, we might not. That's okay. We're capturing software development in the raw as I do it at my desk, and sometimes that involves getting stuck, and that's okay. That's the first thing. The second thing is that the agenda that we're looking at with all this stuff and these handy links is available to you depending on where you're watching this. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's down in the video description. Same with diode.zone. If you're watching this on Twitch, it's down in the channel description. There'll be a link to the agenda. And if you're watching this on Air Mozilla, it's over there in the details section on the left side of the screen. And as I update it, if I add stuff like an extra exclamation mark here, you'll see this little spinny guy happen on the left. And if you reload the agenda, you should see an up-to-date copy of it. All right, let's get into it. Well, before we really get into things, I wanted to briefly plug the episode guide. Also, because we haven't updated the episode guide in a while, and I think it's high time that we do. I do this every couple of episodes, and I think we're overdue for an episode guide update. So, if you're not familiar, the Joy of Coding episode guide is completely viewer-driven. It's this resource that viewers just like you contribute to historically, it's been a place for people to take the agenda and maybe add some additional notes on things that I covered and links to the videos, and then keep a log. And you can, see what I did in episode 300, for example, or see what happened in episode 308, and the sorts of things we talked about. Looks like we were working on jump list stuff in episode 308, so we've been doing this for a while. It's hosted on GitHub, and if you want to contribute to the episode guide, you're more than welcome to. I'm pretty relaxed about the things I accept. If it's useful stuff, I'll merge it right in. So you can go ahead and send me a pull request to the repository if you want to add to the episode guide. If you're not sure what that means, pull request, repository, GitHub, what are all these things? Feel free to click on links here in the agenda, because it will explain how you can go ahead and contribute to the episode guide. So we've got a couple pull requests to add some episodes. Let's take a look at those right now. We've got episodes 328 all the way to 332. Let's start with that. 328 and 329, it looks like, in here. And the way I review these generally, it's pretty high level. Oh, hold on. Before I continue, is it a feature or a bug that Firefox shows an empty page and not a 406 error page if you go to github.com/m.conley? That's a good question. What is this kind of page? This is a 406 page, not acceptable as a URL, and then we just see blank. That's a good question. Let's see what the other browsers do. Let's open up Safari first. Do they show an error code? They show blank. Let's see what Chrome does. They show an error code, HTTP error 406. That's interesting. I'm not 406 is not super common. I don't think 406 not acceptable. The server cannot produce a response matching the list of acceptable values defined in the request's proactive content negotiation. So we weren't able to, it wasn't able to accept it. And we're showing blank and Safari is showing blank. I have no idea what we're supposed to do. Let's quickly check to see if there's anything in Bugzilla for 406 error. Anything related to 406? Not really. HTTP 406. See if there's anything in there. I don't see, oh, you know what? There might also be like resolved bugs that we should check. Okay, a bunch more bugs here. Lock browse time throws an HTTP error. That's throwing a 406. I don't know. This is a very good question. I don't have a good answer for you. What I would recommend, if you're curious about this, SmurfD, is maybe this is worth filing a bug about. The place I would consider filing this is maybe under document navigation. It would be under like core. Navigation. Core, maybe core DOM navigation. Or, maybe Neko? Networking. This is the one. Core networking HTTP. This might be more appropriate. Because, yeah, I guess this is our networking layer would handle things like our error codes, 406 error codes. And so a bug here might be a good place to start. All right, let's move on. There's been a lot of chatter in here. Some people talking about other things they see in the console. Some privacy badger stuff. Let's go ahead and look at this pull request from SmurfD. It's for episode 328. I don't do a whole lot of editorializing. I'll do a brief check here, make sure that the dates are right. Like it was on June the 14th. That's correct. 328. Yeah, that's right. And then the links look good. June 14th. Episode 328. I was working on jump lists again. All of this looks fine. I love it. Moving on. Episode 329. That was on June 21st. Yes. 2023. June 21st. 329. That all looks right. And then we were working on... I talked about the volume controls in the new picture-in-picture volume controls. That was quite nice. I talked about the release model, and we went back into jump lists. More jump list stuff. So that's all great. I am happy with this. Let's go ahead and merge this in. And we'll go ahead and merge episode 320 and 329. And I'll say thanks. And what else have we got? 330 and 331. Let's check these out. June 28th. Yes, 330. Oh, here we go. There's a typo there. We're going to update that. That says 339. So we're going to edit this. We're going to say this is episode 330 on June 28th, 2023. June 28th, yeah, 330. We were reviewing a patch, and then we did jump list stuff. And I talked about Tim Schafer, one of the creators of Monkey Island. We were talking about an interview that Tim was doing with somebody on Twitch, and I happened to be in the chat, and I asked a question. This might interest you, Doug, Elad, because you and I enjoy point-and-click adventure games, and Tim Schafer, who worked on Monkey Island and Day of the Tentacle and a few others, did this interview, and Tim was talking about like game design and stuff, and I was in the chat and I asked a question, and he answered, which was pretty cool. This link looks wrong, maybe. Yeah, this doesn't look right. How? It should have underscores, so we're going to edit this as well. And that all looks good. I'm going to commit those changes and just fix some typos. Okay, and then for episode 331, it's July 5th. That looks right. 331, 331, July 5th, 331. Yes, yes, yes. I talked about Fedia, which is an alternative to Reddit. That's where the Firefox community has kind of migrated to different places from our Firefox. They've gone to different places, and this is one of them. And I talked about main thread disk access. I'm going to just put a dash there. And then we talked about jump lists again. And I think I'm happy with that. I'm going to finish that edit. We'll go ahead and commit that. And we'll merge these in. And we've got one more, and then we can call this done. So we'll go ahead and merge. And say thanks. And finally, episode 332, that was the week before last, before I went on vacation, was on July 12th. And that looks right. That looks right. No episode next week. Special shout out to the Thunderbird gang because they did their release and it looked really cool. And then jumpless stuff. And we talked a lot about what was happening with like Lazy Idle thread. There was a fun discovery there. And I never got to this part. I never got to review Danny Colin's patch to add tooltips, or at least I did, but I asked for tests, and I think that's the first thing we're actually going to do now that we're back. Before we get into jumpless stuff, I'm happy with this, by the way, so let's merge this in. Before we get into jumpless stuff, I want to review that patch from Danny Colin because there's a version of it in my queue that has tests, and we should take a look at it. So if you recall, this patch came into my review queue, and we reviewed it. Yeah, we reviewed it last week. It works wonderfully, and what I asked for was a test, and this is the test that's been written. That's great. So let's review the test. The patch itself is fairly straightforward because we were able to reuse a lot of the code that existed inside of the gbrowser object. Instead of there was a little bit of back and forth about whether or not it's okay to reach across modules and get this helper, and I clarified that yes, this is a public method. It is fine to go ahead and call that method rather than recreating it. So this adds the tooltip. That is great, and this is the test. So the test runs in this browser tab tooltips script. That is the appropriate place for it. Let's take a look at the test now. So this test verifies that the tooltip in the tab manager panel matches the tooltip in the tab strip. Makes sense. So what they do is they open a new tab. We open a new foreground tab. We make the pop-up of all tabs show up. So this is something that you need to do. You need to like make sure that you initialize the all tabs panel in case it hasn't been initialized already. If it has, this is a no op. And then we force the panel to open. And then we look at the let's see here. Getting the all tabs view tabs, last element child, first element child, get attribute label, and then comparing that with tab B, which is gbrowse tabs length -1, get attribute label. Okay, so I have a couple of suggestions. I think we can make some minor suggestions here, but otherwise this looks great. So my first suggestion is this is making the test a little bit brittle in that it's relying on the DOM structure of the items in the tab list, and I think we can make it a little less brittle by doing a DOM query on the element, and we'll figure out what the right query is. And then here tab B is basically just this. This is tab B, this is this. So we can not do this lookup. We can just get the label from tab. So I will first of all suggest that. I will say that this should be equivalent to this. I think tab refers to this thing already. And naming wise, we might be able to make this clearer than tab A and tab B. Maybe something like tab in list label and tab in tabs label, tab in tab strip label. I know it's more characters, but might make it clearer what belongs to what. Yeah, Tim Schafer he does seem like a good guy, and he does make fun games. I never finished Psychonauts, but I enjoyed it while I was playing it. And that was from Double Fine. So the last thing I wanted to suggest was an easier and maybe less brittle way of getting the label. So let's launch our local version of Firefox here. Here, I'll pump up the font so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so here is a version of Firefox, and let's open up some tabs. We've got our tab panel here, and I'm going to open up the DevTools. What we're going to do is we're going to keep the panel open by disabling pop-up auto hide. That's an item here under the meatball menu. Disable pop-up auto hide. So this will keep this open, and then we can examine the DOM structure of this panel. And oh, it goes away when I click it. Of course, that's one of the issues with this whole thing. But we've got it showing up in the inspector, so we can take a look at it. And what it is it's a toolbar. Let's see, toolbar item, all tabs button, subview button, label, new tab. Okay, subview button, label. So really, what we're looking for is every all tabs button. We're looking for the last all tabs button in this list. So, for example, we could do that refers to what I have. $0 is a shortcut for whatever I have highlighted. I could say like query selector all tabs button. If I said query selector all, it will give me all of them. And then if I do @-1, it should give me, I need an array. Array.from that node list. That should give me the last one. If I get the label, it should be, can you solve Albert Einstein's famous house riddle? Yeah. This is maybe less brittle because it doesn't presume the DOM structure. It just says, hey, find a thing with this class, give me the last one, and give me its label. And I think that's maybe what I'm going to suggest here. So if we go back to the test, we can maybe make this less brittle. Oh, I also enjoyed Broken Age. I enjoyed Broken Age a lot. I helped kickstart that one. We can maybe make this less brittle by relying less on the DOM structure of these things and instead do a CSS query like this. And then what was the suggestion I made? It was like let tab in list label equal array from, and then instead of $0, we'll use this all tabs view tabs, because I think that's equivalent. Let's just make sure though. It's not. It's not. All tabs view tabs. What is that? That's tabs view tabs. Hang on, let's keep it open again. What is this? I think we're hitting an error in our in the dev tools, but that's okay. We're okay so far. Not quite. There we go. It was called all tabs menu, all tabs view tabs. All tabs menu, I see. So shouldn't we be able to do query selector all tabs but? Yes. So the reason it wasn't working before probably was because the panel was closed. And @-1 is just a way of saying give me the last one. That's just a fancy way of doing that. Okay. So it's not a fancy way of saying it. I prefer to say it that way than saying like the classic way of getting the last item would be like if like X is an array. The classic way that I recall doing it is like let last equals like x dot length minus 1. Like that's the way of getting the last item, and the fast or not the, maybe the less verbose way of doing that is at -1. Just like go work your way backwards through the list, and instead just give me the last item in the list. All right, let's save that. Otherwise, I think this is great. I think this is a great test. Now, I would like to run this test locally just to make sure that I haven't missed anything. So let's pull this patch down. And we'll run it locally. So let's build it. Yeah, I think it may have been my first Kickstarter contribution too. I felt so happy. It felt like adventure games are coming back. And then they kind of have. They kind of have made this quiet resurgence. Like, not least of all, the return to Monkey Island, which is, like, I'm so happy that that happened. I haven't actually played it yet, but I'm so happy that that's happened. I've been sort of saving up to play that game. All right, let's get in here. Okay, so let's restore our previously closed tabs. Here's a bunch of tabs from before, I guess, that were not the ones I had recently closed. I don't know why I restored those ones. Maybe because, I don't know, we closed the window rather than the tabs. All right, anyways, here's some tabs. Here's this list. We've got tab tips now, or tool tips now. That's what Danny Cullen fixed, is we've got tool tips now. That's good. Let's run our test. Quick shout out to Elad. Oh, what's going on here? Do you not know what I'm talking about? Error running the test. Why? Why? Do you need me to build faster again? That doesn't make any sense. Do I not have the path correct? This is an interesting conundrum. Yeah, that path is right. What's your problem? Mock, does it just want me to run test? Mock. This might be a new development. I'm used to writing mock Moki test, but maybe they removed support for that. That's interesting. Okay, the test passes, so I'm pretty happy here. We've got a passing test. There's just some minor adjustments here. I'm going to say this is great. I'm going to accept this. Thanks, SDK. This looks great. Can you please take a look at my suggestions below? I think they might help make the test less brittle and more readable. And a little more readable. I really appreciate you putting in the time to write a test. And then once that's done, we can land this. So approved. Approved. All right. Done. That's off the work plate. We're gonna get into jump lists now. So let's do it. I wanted to, like last time on Windows jump lists, we just gotten to the point where all this stuff was working and we wanted to write some tests. And now I want to sort of like plot out the tests that we want to write. And I think we can do that here. Yeah, we solved these things already. So we're at the point where we're going to write a G test for the jump list builder. We're going to write a front end test that registers a fake win taskbar and produces a fake jump list builder to make sure it gets past the right things. Okay, so writing a G test. I've never written a G test before. I've contributed to one. Mike, I think you hit bug such and such. Did I hit a bug? Was this about the session? Test. This was opened a day ago, and it's been fixed relatively recently. It was fixed 8 hours ago. Maybe I just need to do a more recent pull. I pulled, I think yesterday. I haven't pulled more recently. Okay, good to know. So that's been fixed. Thank goodness. A G test. Now I actually have some notes on the G test we wanted to write from like way back in the day, because we started talking about G tests, and I did some like research into it. We were talking about this stuff. Wait for, yeah, DOM media G test. Wait for, and then we spin the event loop to wait until the promise either resolves or rejects, and we assert the resolving or the rejecting. This was like the plan, basically, for writing our test. So let's see if we can start by building ourselves a very simple test that doesn't do anything. Like, I don't know if mock add test will work. Let's just find out, actually. Mock add test help. Does it support G tests? Generate tests based on templates. It doesn't look like G-test is included. I could be wrong. Let's double check. Because I think there's like a templates directory that we can look at. Templates. Huh. Mock. Add test, mock commands, add test, here we go. Almost. Test. Add test supported suites. So what suites is, okay, so these are the ones that are supported, so G-tests are not supported. We're going to be doing this on our own, gang. All right, how to add a G-test. Let's see if we can find some examples. Also, do we have any source docs on how to do this? A G-test, for those who are curious, this is a test that's written in C++ to test native code. And the reason we need to do this is because we're basically going to be talking directly to our native component and mocking out the Win32 API surface that we normally would speak to populate the jump list, but we're going to mock that out because what we're testing is the thing that talks to the Win32 API, not the Win32 API itself, just the thing that talks to it. So we're going to mock out the thing that it talks to, and then we're going to send signals to it and make sure that our mock gets the right stuff. Basically, that's the idea. G-test, here we go. G-test is run a standard running tests. So running selected tests, you can do it like this. Configuring G-tests, debugging a G-test, debugging. Writing a G-test. Most of the G-test documentation will apply here. The G-test primer is a recommended read. I think I read these a while back. I'm not going to read them right now in front of you, but we might end up having to go back there if we're stuck. Here's an example of how to add a simple test. Amazing. I love this documentation. This was from 2018. Let's hope it's still relevant. So we add I see. Test G test prio encoder. And then in the Moz build we include it in unified sources to go into Zool G test. All right, let's make sure that that's still actually the way it's done. Yes, it looks like it. So all this kind of gets compiled into a separate library. Okay, So the way I want to do this then, I think, is because the here, let's open up Sublime. I didn't mean to open up the Finder, really. The jump list builder stuff that we've built is under widget Windows, and I think I could be wrong here. Widget Windows. There is a test directory, and there is an existing gtest folder. Okay, great. So we're gonna add to this. Is what we're gonna do. That's good. So let's start by creating a new file, and we're gonna call it widget Windows tests gtest. We'll call it test jump list backend. Not really. Jump list builder is what we're testing. Excuse me. Okay, so we've added a file here, and we need to add the license header. And what goes into a gtest? Presumably we need to bring in like the gtest header. That makes a lot of sense. And then what else? A lot of this is probably very test specific. Let's see if we can find the minimum gtest. They brought in gtest, the JS API, Prio encoder, all of this stuff. I don't know what this means. Test Prio encoder verify full. Test Prio encoder. Let's just see what happens if I'm gonna just copy this stuff. I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna paste it in. I'm gonna get rid of these plus symbols. Vertical selection. I'm just gonna say test. I'm gonna say jump list builder verify full. And what are there parts of these I can reuse? Let's assert true. Let's just assert true. Simple. That's true. True is always true. So let's just make sure that that's working. I'm just going to get rid of the rest of this, actually. Don't need it. And I think I'm missing an opening brace. Yes. And do I need a semicolon? No. All right, let's just see if this works. Do I need to include it? Final line right test. Yeah, here we go. Test jump list builder.cpp. That's got to be in alphabetical order. I think that's all I need to do. Let's now build this. Let's build it. Let's do an opt build. Let's see what it does. See if it's happy with this. Now, I'm just thinking, one of the things that we're going to need to do. Did we expose the interface? Okay, we did. We exposed the jump list backend. Because this is what we're going to have to basically implement. We're going to need to implement a test version of this backend. And that's what we're going to construct our jump list builder to wrap around. We're doing what's called dependency injection here. I've never done this with native code, though, so this might be a whole lot of fun. Oh, don't tell me you're doing a full build. That's crazy. No. What's happening here? Let's give this 30 seconds to sort itself out. If I see us doing a full-blown build, I'm going to be very upset. This is bananas. I swear we had just finished a build. Okay, hold on. It's wrapping up. It's wrapping up. It looks like it did toolkit. It's complaining about some stuff. some third-party code. But it's actually, I don't know if you saw, but it got to toolkit library. So I think we're actually close to the end. I don't know why changing and adding this G-test would cause us to rebuild all of these folders. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Unless we're rebuilding all of the folders that have other G-tests in them. That would be super annoying. To just include them. To include it all together. That's possible. And now it's doing the DLLs. Okay, yeah, this should not take much longer. This is not a full build. This is us. We're linking now. Now we're linking. So let's give that a couple minutes. And in the meantime, we can figure out how we're going to run this thing. So what's the command to run a test? The include file for the class you're testing may not be needed to be globally exported, but it does need to be made available to the unit test you're writing. That makes sense. Supports test duration for perf herder. I'm not writing a bench test. How do I run them? Oh, here we go. Moz run G test to debug a test. I just want to run it. Mock G test. And then what does this mean? Moz2D star. You know what? I have a feeling this identifier has to do with what I wrote here. I have a feeling this is us naming the test so that it can be run. So I suspect that I could run. Is this done? This is done. Oh, I did not mean
Mingo 30.
Nope.
N club 3 C N exit NVDA.
Sorry, didn't mean to launch NVDA. Hello, Magic Arrows. Hello. Okay, so we're not going to run Moz2D. We're going to run Jump List Builder and see if it's happy with that. Do I need the dot star? Let's try it without first and see what happens. What you doing? Recurse G-test. So now it's doing another compile. That's not amazing. Maybe I didn't even need to do the first compile. It's kind of annoying. It's compiling a bunch of Rust stuff. Okay. Well, while it's figuring out whether or not it can run that test, let's plan out what we're going to do. So it's episode 333. I'm actually going to... That text that we saw in here was actually useful. I'm going to copy some of that over because I think we might want to refer to it. Where was it? Where was it? I saw it. It was nearby. It was like back in the day. What was the one? Here it is, right? G-test. It had like a chunk of code. This is the one I wanted, yes. Okay, so I'm gonna copy all of this and we're gonna go back to today's episode and we're gonna just take a look at this and see if any of this is still relevant. So we have an abstract, it's not a jump list manager anymore. It's a jump list backend. Isn't that what it's called? Oh, it ran, jump list builder. Running 0 tests. Cannot find the file. Okay, so that's a problem. What if do I need to add the dot star? Is that what you want? Okay, yes, that worked. That ran a test. So I do need the dot star. And there's some metrics errors, but they are unrelated. So this is the part that we care about. So we have a G-test working. let's see if we can do something really, really simple. Like, let's construct a jump list builder. Let's see if we can just construct a jump list builder. So we should get the includes. We're gonna do include. Do I need to? I don't think I need to pass it any fancy paths. I think I can just do include jump list builder. Let's see if it likes this. And then let's see what happens if I try and construct one. And if I recall correctly, it should be fine for me to, what was it? NS Windows taskbar. What was it called? Win taskbar. So here, new jump list builder, and then it wants like an AUMID. So I'm just going to construct one of these things just to see. I'm going to pass it NS auto string AUMID. It's just the empty string. And then let's see what other asserts do I have? Can I have like assert not null? Assert, do I like coerce it into truthiness? Like what? Assert equals false, greater equal, greater than, less equals, less than, not equal, true, expect false, expect true. What's the difference between expect true and expect false? What are the asserts? Assert. Assertions. Assertions reference. The majority of the macros list below comes a pair with an expect variant and assert variant. Upon failure, expect macros generate non-fatal failures and allow the current function to continue running, while assert fatal are fatal and abort the current function. I see. Okay. Succeed, add failure, expect that. Interesting. Expect that, such and such. Matches. That's neat. Assert that. I like that. I like that. Let's just coerce. Assert true. We're going to say assert true builder. Whoops. Let's see if this compiles. I have some suspicion that it won't. Do I need to? I might need to rebuild. Let's see what happens if I try and do this. Will it attempt? Will it just run the test, or do I need to like do a build? Like, is this step building the test? I think it is. I think it's building it. So that's good. Okay, good. Could not build it. Why? Unknown name. H result. It doesn't know what H results are. I think I need to bring in like the Win32 stuff. The basic Win32 stuff. Oops, didn't need that. Magic Arrow says dumping in some includes. Include rum, include cola, include cocktail, make rum cola. Very interesting. Interesting combination there. Okay, so we've got, it knows what H results are now, but it doesn't know what I object array is. So, geez. So I have to import all this stuff? This is super annoying. Okay, let's see. Jump list builder .cpp. What does it bring in? It might be all of this stuff that I need to bring in. Okay. see. Do you know what I mean now? How about now? Building. Nope. Too many errors. Why? Why? Okay, hold on. Stand by. Still doesn't know what iObjectArray is. And doesn't know what known dest category is. So I have a feeling we need to bring in a different header. Okay, where is iObjectArray? I have to go through the Mozilla or the Microsoft documentation now. Not MDNS. Mozilla, Microsoft. Oh, geez. Developer documentation. What's it called? Yeah, iObjectArray. Objectarray.h. That's what I have to bring in. Okay. So let's get rid of these other things that let's just not include those for now. We're going to bring in objectarray.h. See if that changes our error message. I just want this thing to run. I just want it to run. Let's see if we can get there. This is probably going to be us kind of like smashing through errors until it finally builds. Okay, slightly different error. We don't hear about iObjectArray anymore. We do hear about known dest category. It doesn't know what that is. Let's see if we can find out where that's defined. Let's see. What do you think, Microsoft? Known dest category. Seriously? Come on, Google. Pen known category. See, jump list class. Jump list class. What is this? This is not quite it. This isn't Win32, is it? This is like the MFC stuff. Yeah. I don't know what this is. This is not... Oh, I don't think we use Microsoft Foundation. I don't think we use this library, so I'm in the wrong place. This thing knows about it. Custom list. Yeah. Where are you? Shell 32 DLL. IDL core. Include shobj idl.h. That's what we want, I think. Okay. Okay. Let's put this in alphabetical order. Just cause. And let's see. Danny Colin thought I was on vacation. I was. Last week I was on vacation. I was away. I was at the beach. I was with family. It was good. I got some sun. I got in the water. I got in a boat. I survived. Okay, so different errors now. Unknown type name, jump list builder. Did you mean Mozilla widget? Okay, good. This I recognize. So using Mozilla widget jump list builder. It doesn't know what we mean. We have to tell it this is the fully qualified name of the class. We're using like the short name, and I'm saying like, okay, fine. I'm gonna be very explicit. This is what we're using. So I think that will make it happy. Come on. Let's go. Okay. It built it. It's doing some DLL stuff. It's linking. That's good news. I hope this is not. I don't think we're gonna be able to afford to do such incremental development. Okay, good. It passed. It passed. Global test environment, tear down, verify full, one test, run, okay. Okay. This passed, so we can construct it. That's good news. That's very good news. And we didn't need this stuff, so we can get rid of that. So we've got our very basic framework here. So we're gonna say test. What's the format for like naming a test? .cpp. What is the format? Test for naming a test. Like Moz2D, for example. Oh, the second part, verify full. I see. So that has nothing to do with configuring the test. This is how you describe it. Test for Jumpless Builder. I'm testing construction, basic construction. And now what I want to do is I want to create our subclass, our testing jump list backend. Okay, so we've got, this is the very exciting part. I've kind of been waiting for this for a long time. So here is our virtual, this is our interface basically. It's like a virtual class that we're going to implement. And we already have an implementation inside of jumplist builder.cpp. Native jump list backend. So what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to copy our native one, and then we're going to gut it. We're going to really gut it. So this is called testing jump list backend. And we're going to, this is like a to do. We're just going to see if we can okay, that we'll keep that part. We're going to get rid of this assertion where we want this thing to be allowed to be constructed on the main thread. We're going to make sure that all of the calls is available are what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this return true here. I'm just going to hard code some values in. I'm not going to do these assertions for now. We're just going to say return h result. What's the, I think it's like 0 is like the good one for h results. So let's just return 0 for all of these for now. Let's just see if we can construct this thing. It's a really dumb class. It doesn't do anything. And I'm just going to copy this. We're just going to paste this in. Doesn't do much. And then we are going to not have that private member. Let's see if we can construct one of these. We'll say ref pointer, testing jump list backend, test backend equals new testing jump list backend. Assert true test backend. And then let's build that. Let's see if it likes that. Meanwhile, we're going to work on constructing. We're going to alter this a little bit. And we're going to construct the jump list builder. If you recall, our jump list builder can be constructed with a testing backend as the second argument, and that's what we want to do. So we're going to set test backend. Assert true builder. So let's make sure that that works. This failed. Class. Did you mean? Oh, yes. I need to also do using jump list backend. All right. This is very exciting. I've been waiting for this for a long time. I'll be super happy if this works. Here the word basic goes 10, print hello basic go to 10. I used to write in basic. A long time ago. Actually, Elad and myself used to make little computer games in basic. Just FYI. That's just a little piece of trivia there. If you dig deep enough, you might even find some of them on the internet. Are they good games? Not really. But considering how old we were, I think it's pretty good. All right. That works. This works, gang. Yeah. Our game company was called Groovy Concepts, and I'm pretty sure, let's see if anyone else has ever registered that. Is that like a company? Groovy Concepts. If not, we should jump on this. Google is being horribly slow today. DuckDuckGo's fine. Groovy Concepts. Holy smokes, it's a full-service corporate media production company in Oakville, Ontario. Elad, we lost our trademark. They've even got the website. They've got groovyconcepts.ca. Who's doing this? Who's doing this in Oakville? Who are these people? Is this someone we went to school with? We lost our chance to really grab hold of that. It actually exists as a company. That is hilarious. Okay, so this works. Amazing. So now we have to do something kind of interesting. So recall, one of the things that the native jump list builder does is that it asserts that it is constructed and managed completely off of the main thread. You're okay with it? Okay. You're a bigger man than I. I have the deepest, I'm filled with rage. Like, why didn't we get hold? No, I'm just joking. The native jump list backend is designed from the ground up to always run off of the main thread. That's the whole point in why we're doing all of this, is we're trying to get jump list processing all off of the main thread for performance reasons, because it does I/O. It can do disk access, and that can be slow. Now, that's good, but our tests will run off of the main thread. And to make our test writing easier, I think we want the test backend to be able to be constructed on the main thread, and then to be able to hand off basically to the background thread. And then, like, basically we'll use locking. We'll use a lock to ensure that the other thread is done with it. By the time the promise resolves, we'll wait for the lock to be released, and then we'll be able to read values that maybe were written in here, because that's what this thing is. This should be like this is like a box that stuff can be written into. So for example, let's figure out the very first test we want to write here. What is the first thing that is done with the back end whenever it's handed one? Like when we construct the jump list builder, one of the first things we do is we call do setup backend. All right, that just constructs the native one unless we're passing a testing one, so that doesn't matter. And then we say set app ID. We call do set app ID, and that that is something that we can test right now. Is we can make sure that set app ID is called and passed the right stuff. Let's see if we can get that test written right now. So let's go back to our test. Set app ID is right here. And what we're going to want to do basically is store, well, hold on. Does gtest come with some, I think it comes with some mocking capabilities? Gmock cookbook. Mock method. I want to like spy on things to see if they were called and what they were called with. Like spy. Mocking free functions. Expect call. That's interesting. So we create our mock. If a mock method has no expect call spec but is called, we say it's an uninteresting call. How does somebody want to ignore those uninteresting? Suppose your test uses a mock class called mock foo, and then we expect if a method of mock foo other than do this is called, you'll get a warning. If you test to use a nice mock, you can suppress the warning. Huh. Existing code. Simplifying the game. Suppose the method has long arguments, mostly uninteresting. Mock method. So maybe this is... Does it have anything about thread safety here? Testing asynchronous behavior. Hard to test asynchronous behavior. Suppose you had an event queue class you want to test, you want to create an event dispatcher interface, you map it out, however the implementation of all the event background threads, which makes test times difficult. You could just insert sleep statements, but that makes your test behavior non-deterministic. A better way is to use gmock actions and notification objects to force your asynchronous test to behave synchronously. In the example above, we set our normal gmock expectations. So what it does is we say, here's our mock event dispatcher. We're going to have a mock method. We create our mock event dispatcher. We create our event queue. Presumably this is the thing we're testing. And we expect that mock event dispatcher will get a dispatch event. Okay, event ID will be called once, and when it's done, it will notify. And then we use done, wait for notification. That's interesting. Eventually, timeout fail will take longer. To alleviate, you can use wait for notification with timeout. That sounds nice. This all sounds pretty good. It's probably someone we went to school with. Yeah, 100%. Someone took... We came up with that name first. No one else existed who knew about that name. We said something. They have made a whole career out of it. It's amazing. Where are our residuals? I'm joking. This all looks fascinating. Now, do we use any of this stuff? Expect call, for example. Yes, we do. Protobuf does. This is all third-party code. Does any of our graphics stuff? Okay. Yes. Good. Mock. Do we mock method, do we use that at all? Mock method. Graphics or GFX. Yeah, mock method. So maybe this is what I really want to do, is I want to, like, instead of implementing all these individual things, I'm going to say mock method And I think the number indicates how many arguments are supposed to be passed to it. Mock method. Oh. You don't have to do it that way. Whoops, 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 whoops. Old style. That's old style. Okay. So now we say method name return type args instead of mock method return type. Oh, it's describing what used to be. So this is what we want. Mock method return type. So mock method return type is hresult. Method name. I can't even remember what the method name was. Let's back up a little bit here. Set app ID. Okay. So we're going to say mock method and then hresult. Wow. My RDP, am I dropping frames like crazy? No, I'm not. But this machine is, what's going on? RDP. Not now, I'm streaming. Network. Okay, mock method, we're going to pass it the return value, which is an hresult, the method name, which is wow, come on, come on, come on, come on. Hresult, the method name is set app ID. And then the args in like a tuple of some kind. So int const method. Oh, it's not an int con. Oh, I see. I see. With call type. Let's just do simple. And we're just going to pass it LPC WSTR. And I don't think it requires oh, when we implement it. Okay, it does want the semicolon. Fine. Okay. And we're going to get rid of this. Let's see what it says about that if I build this. This is my first time using gtest, first time using gmock. I don't know if any of this is going to work. I don't even know if we're using the most up-to-date version of the gtest library. I should really check that. Mock, Google Mock. Like, when was the last time this was updated? Google Mock, README. Is there like a version? When was this last updated? Okay, April of last year. That's not so bad. I don't know when some of this stuff was introduced. 2018, so I'm all right. Hey, okay, looking good. So it likes the mock. I like the mock. That's good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to say, I want to make sure that this is past some like useful ID. So let's see. I have to remember how you initialize a string. NS auto string. I think I can just pass it like a literal, right? Yeah. Yeah. but I have to prefix it. Okay. So you test application ID. Okay. So we're going to pass that in. And because this occurs off of the main thread, what was their recommendation for asynchronous? Dispatch event will once done notify on when called. I don't know if that's going to work across threads. That might be a problem. I don't know if done notify. Absolute notification time. Let's find out though. Expect call on dispatch event. Let's see if we can construct expect call mock event dispatcher. No, I expect the call on the test backend, and I expect set app ID to be called, and I expect it to be passed not this number, but a string. Dispatch event. Okay, event ID. Set app ID. So that doesn't look right. No, I need to like. What's the string, internal string guide? I need a UTF-16 string. Literals. Created through user defined literals. Okay. So set app ID, test application ID, NS. See if that works. Strings in native code. Hilarious. And then what I want to do is say will once done. That's how they want to do it, eh? And then we're gonna wait for notification. Will this build? I got a feeling we're gonna hit problems, but let's see. Wow, a lot of chatter back there. Have I heard about web environment integrity, aka DRM for the web? Yes, I have. I have heard about this this proposal that's been put forward. I have heard about it. And the other question is, test the test. Am I following aware of Ladybird browser development? Is that the Serenity OS browser engine from the Serenity OS people? I think that's what that is, right? They called it Ladybird. It's very impressive. You don't see browser engines starting from scratch happening. Like, that's not a thing that you generally see out in the wild. There are a couple of cases, like Servo from Mozilla, now being handled by, like, Agalia is taking care of it, and I think it's owned by the Linux Foundation. Servo is one. There's one called, I think it's Flow. That might be another kind of browser engine. It started as like an SVG engine, but they're turning it into a browser engine. There are a couple of like toy browser engines, but they're or like web engines. Ladybird is another one, and like these things are few and far between. What you generally see are people building browsers but using pre-existing engines like Blink or WebKit or Gecko, which is the one that powers Firefox. And so it's very interesting, I think, to see new browser engines be built. It's actually good for the web. The more engines, the diversity in engines and the different approaches that people have in consuming the web, the better. That's what we want. We like this. So thumbs up. More browser engines, please. So it does not like this. Why does it not like this? Unknown type name, set app ID. So it didn't like what I wrote under mock method. But I thought it liked that before. Did it? Oh, it also doesn't know what done is. I need to do this. And is that used anywhere else? Only in third-party code, eh? Done. Okay. Well, let's see if it's happy with that part. This, I'm very confused about why it wouldn't be happy with that, because I thought it was building before. Mock. Error. A type specifier is required for all declarations. Unknown type name, set app ID. Well, what do you want from me? Did I not tell you what you needed to know? Mock method. Do you need a name for the type? Maybe you want a name. AUM ID. I somehow don't think that's it, but might be a cool thing to do for episode 350, exploring the Ladybird code base. Yeah, I'd check that out. I like exploring unfamiliar code bases. Wasn't Servo supposed to replace Gecko? No, it was not. I want to be very clear on this. Servo was never designed, that was not its point, was not to replace Gecko. Servo was an experimental browser engine that was built in part to help develop the Rust language. They were kind of developed in tandem, because it's good to have an actual product use the language while you're designing the language to make sure that what you're building is going to be practical and usable. And it also allowed us to, a lot of the feedback that went into the Rust language came from building out Servo. It was a very ambitious project. And Servo itself had some really interesting ideas, but it was designed to be a research vehicle, a research browser engine to test kind of radical ideas on how to do different things. It was never meant to replace Gecko. But certain parts of Servo were basically airlifted out of Servo and put into Gecko. So for example, the style engine inside of Firefox, which used to be written in C++, was back in whenever we did Quantum, that's whenever we shipped the Stylo CSS engine, and it beats the pants off of the competition. Like no other engine comes even close to our CSS parsing capabilities and parsing speed. WebRender is another one. That's from the Servo project. And there may have been some other things that came from Servo, but it was never designed to replace Gecko. That was not the point. Okay, so it really doesn't like this, eh? What's wrong? Unknown type name, set app ID. Are we supposed to do something else? Mock method. Let's see some more examples of people using mock method. Are there more active projects in Rust that are being actively developed in Gecko? I mean, WebRender is still under active development. I mean, yeah, how much of Gecko is in Rust? I'd say a significant portion at this point, with the style engine and the WebRender being written in Rust. There are other parts that are written in Rust. Some of our parsing, like the places that you'd want to have like memory safety guarantees. I think one of the first things that we converted over to Rust was like some media parsing stuff, and that's done in Rust. Some of the sync engine is written in Rust too. Would me personally consider writing more Rust? I would, if I had a reason to. Like, there are some real advantages, I think, to writing in Rust, but there are some, like, considering the problem spaces I'm in, I'm not sure if Rust is the right fit. Writing front end in Rust is possible, but it would, and like, for example, I think I was telling you the sync engines, part of the sync engines are written in Rust. And there's actually a tool, Unify, that allows us to basically create bindings between Rust and JavaScript, so that you can like compile something that's written in Rust and then talk to it from JavaScript. And there's this mechanism exists, and that's how our sync engine works, is using this library. And so it's possible. It's just I haven't had a need to. The parts that I work, like what Rust is really, really good at is like memory safety, getting rid of data races. I had briefly considered writing this jump list stuff in Rust, but the problem is that I don't think the MS COM support in Rust is very good, or at least I haven't seen a whole lot. Maybe it's gotten better, but the last I checked, it's not very good. And we needed MS COM to talk to the jump list backend, but I did consider it. Is there any way Mozilla could fight against something like web environment integrity that Google is implementing? Well, first of all, is we don't. I'd say we don't implement it. And, I mean, as is, it's very it's. I wouldn't even. It's barely a It's not a specification. It's barely a proposal. Like, it's just very, very high level hand wavy. Like, I read the thing, and I don't even really. It gives a very vague description of what it is, and so it begs a lot of questions, basically. And is it possible that that there's a way to, what am I trying to get at here? This is kind of outside of my area of expertise. I'll say that. There's a group in Mozilla whose job it is to work. It's to work within standards. They work in standards groups and standards bodies, and that's not ever really been my role. I am watching this mainly out of an interest in, because I work on a web browser and because I care about the web, but like I don't have any like skin in the game in terms of like my day job. I don't work on like standards groups, and so I don't actually know how that's going to work out. Is there something Mozilla can do? I mean, I think we will do what we can. We have certain levers we can pull politically. I think we can point at a lot of, like, I think a lot of our leverage, this is my personal opinion, will be in pointing out security, privacy, and accessibility flaws in the proposal. Like, there are certain parts of the proposal as written that I think have serious consequences, potential serious consequences, not just for ad blockers. I know people are worried about ad blockers and people, Google's DRMing the web. I think people aren't thinking enough about accessibility. That is, to me, it's like typical web developers. They're not thinking about accessibility. But like, people browse the web using like assistive technologies that I am not convinced that this proposal accommodates. And so that is a lever, because like there are legal ramifications, and that's a lever that we can also attempt to push on. But again, that's my personal opinion. I don't actually know how these conversations go about. I will say that Mozilla is paying very close attention to this proposal, though. Aukris writes, well, it doesn't need details when the only tested platform will be Google's one. Okay. That's true. That's true. I mean, Google does have a history of doing this, of publishing a standard after they've already shipped a thing and saying, look, it's a standard. So yeah, I think we're going to have to do our best. I'm not a fan of this proposal, personally. But I'm going to leave it in the hands of the people at Mozilla who are the experts at dealing with standards and the sort of politicking that occurs at a higher level. And particularly in the critique and evaluation of standards. That happens with people far smarter than me, and I will leave it to them. Okay, so where are we? We've gotten kind of distracted here. I don't know what is going on here with this. We were looking at mock method. Let's look at an example of just mock method being used. Do we have anything like that under like APZ or not under third party? Because maybe that's the problem, is that some of our gluing code isn't designed to work with mock method directly. Oh, no, here we have one. Test file system directory. So how does it know what next is? Does it... Mozilla DOM fs test mock file system directory iterator impl. Line 33. Like, do you want me to do that? Or sorry. Do you want me to do that? I don't know what you want from me. Aukris is worried about web banking on Linux. I think not enough people are thinking about accessibility. I think that is typical. Typical. It's expecting a type? Do I have these arguments wrong? Mock method. It's supposed to be the name. What is your problem? Mock method. H result. That's supposed to be the type, the return type. And this is supposed to be the name. There's no type named setAppID in testing jump list backend. Error. A type specifier is required for all declarations. No type. No type. Well, what if we use the old... Let's use the old format for a second here. Mock method 1. And then we'll say set app ID. And then we'll say that you return an H result. And you accept an LPC WSTR AUMID. Better. Nope, not better. Still unknown type name. It still doesn't like the fact it doesn't recognize class, public. Do I need to be in the right namespace? Could that be it? Do I need to like namespace Mozilla namespace widget? Is that what you're complaining about? And then like using Mozilla widget test jumpless backend. I don't know if I can put that here. Maybe not. Let's find out though. I got a feeling I can't. It's gonna be like, what are you talking about, Tesla's jumpless backend? What are you talking about? And it's like, it's right here, gang. But maybe. Yeah, it doesn't know what I'm talking about. Okay. I'll tell you what users can do. Someone was asking, like, is there something Mozilla can do? Ask not what Mozilla can do for you. Ask what you can do for Mozilla. And what you can do is, if you get, this is going to sound very self-serving, if you can get a lot of people suddenly switching away from Chrome, like en masse, that will get Google's attention. That will get their attention. Switch to an alternative. If I had my switch to Firefox, if you can get them off of a Chromium base, get them onto Safari, get them onto a WebKit browser, get them onto Ladybird, get them onto Firefox, like en masse, move people to different browsers. If they start seeing like an impact on their usage numbers, that will freak them out. That will get them to think twice, I think. So that would be my recommendation. Start compelling the people you know and spread the word. Like, switch off of Chrome. Get out of the Google environment. Get out of the Google ecosystem as much as you can. And let them know why you're leaving. Still not happy. Still not happy. It doesn't matter that I'm... It also doesn't know what this is. Absol. Use of undeclared identifier. This is bananas. Am I supposed to be like doing this within void f mock f using testing? How is this supposed to work? How can he be the one if he's dead? Where's this come from? Absol. Axel. Where is Absol? Try and get off of the Google ecosystem, he says, while looking at some Google code. What is Absol? Using Eddie equals Absol. What are you? Maybe we don't have Absol. What is Absol? We might not be able to do it this way, gang. Let's get rid of that for a second. We might have to do something a little more hand-rolled. Damn you, Cypher. 100%. Favorite coding music? So I I do listen to music while I'm programming, and lately I've been listening to a band called Illuminati Hotties. It's not for everybody, but I'm enjoying it. Their most recent album, I can't remember what it's called. Whoops, I spelled it wrong. Illuminati Hotties. What was the name of the album? Let Me Do One More. And I've been listening to that. It's not for everybody, but I'm enjoying it. So Smurfy's like, can't you look at something like this? I sure can. But is this using mocking? Nope. So not as helpful. Like we had a lot of this already, this infrastructure. What we need is the mocking stuff to work. And that is not working. Because for some reason, it is not happy with me like attempting to mock set app ID. It doesn't know what I'm talking about. And like maybe it wants the fully qualified name. Maybe that's what it wants. I might have to cap the stream shortly in a couple of minutes. I'm glad you're enjoying it, Vinit Kami. Vinit? Yeah, no type named. What are you talking? No type named. C++. No type named. No type named. It's very cryptic. The problem is it takes the first round, but you're passing it by value. Do I have the signature wrong? Am I focusing on the wrong part? Set app ID. Set app ID. Conduit. Public. It's virtual. It's got all these virtual things. That's great. And then we mock it out. Mock method. Void. Set transport active. Which takes one bool, returns void. And when we define the jump list builder, the interface, yeah, okay. That looks right. Virtual. Is it supposed to be virtual? Yeah, virtual H result. So what's your problem, gang? Set transport active. I swear too that this was working. Like we had it building and we were like, hooray! Mock method. None of this helped. None of this helped. Didn't matter. None of this helped. What happens? Okay, let's try something simpler. Let's mock out a method that doesn't actually do anything. Let's mock out a method called setAppID2. Let's put back our silly implementation here that just returns 0 or whatever. And then we're going to call this one setAppID2. And it doesn't take any arguments and also doesn't return anything. It just returns void. Let's see if it likes this. How about this in the .h file? Mock. Mock. Is it using the mock helpers? Mock media resource. Interesting. It looks like it's not using the mock help, like the mock library at all, the gmock library. Which we could do. You know what? That if we can't get this working, that might be the solution. Unknown type set app. See? What do you set app ID to? Unknown type name. Error. A type specifier is required for all declarations. Oh, hold on. Mock method 0. There are no arguments here. Void must be the first and only parameter if specified. I think it doesn't know what mock method is. I think it doesn't know what... That's my suspicion. I think it doesn't know how to expand this macro. That's my guess. That's my guess. So let's see if we can prove that. Is there a... All right, let's look at some... Is there something we're supposed to be importing? gmock.h. Is that the problem? That we have just been failing so hard because we doesn't know how to expand this macro, and C++ is being like, well, before I try and expand the macro that doesn't exist, I'll complain about the types you're passing it. That could be. Let's see. If this is it, it's totally it. That's what's going on. It's a different, well, it's a different error now. But that's exactly what was happening. Signature must be a function type, maybe return type contains unprotected comma. Oh. I think we have to say this, void. Mock method 0. Yeah, void, open, close parens. And then we get rid of this. Now, how you do. Yeah, good call, Ocris. That's exactly right. Open and close parens. Wow, I realize this is a little torturous, but this is my first time writing G-tests. I don't know what I'm doing. This is basically what I'd be doing if I were doing this on my own. This is what I'd be running into. Although I might be like talking to another colleague and being like, "Hey, have you ever written a G-test? How do you do this?" And maybe I'd be getting some advice. Look, gang, it's building. Okay. Classic C++. Classic C++. I just spent probably a half an hour dealing with the fact that I failed to import gmock.h. And it didn't tell me. It didn't tell me that the macro was missing. I'm going to flip out. I will lose my mind. Okay, so let's finally mock this thing out. Set app ID to... What was it? What was the old what was the old signature? It's H result, then the name, and then we tell it the types. In this case, LPCWSTR. If I see a pineapple on this table, I will lose my mind. That is my impression of Al Pacino. No, that was my impression of Bill Hader's impression of Al Pacino. Yeah, total table flip. Hundo P. Hundo P. But this is what I'd be dealing with if you caught it live. This is for real. This is real software development. This is what I'd be doing. I'm glad you like the impression of the impression. It's very postmodern, my impression of an impression. Passed. Okay, now let's see. Can we bring in the Absol stuff? Now does it know what Absol is, now that I'm bringing in Gmod? Does it know what Absol is? Very excited for this to work. It's like Mel Blanc doing Bugs doing Daffy. Oh, exactly. It's exactly. I won't even attempt that. That is what a challenge. Yeah, it has no idea what this library is. Absol. I don't think we have it included as a thing we can use. Oh. But we have this. And it does use locking. So we can use it across sites. This is what I want. I want this. Testing internal notification. Is this a thing that... Can I use this outside? This is like internal. I guess I can't get at any of the... Help class running Google's test multi-threading constructs. Use right. Things param. Thread can start. Thread can start parameters optional. Google tests own constructs. Do not use them in user tests either directly or indirectly. I got a feeling I don't have access to notification. It's not going to let me have it. I mean, it's really just like a lock. There's nothing super fancy about this. So I could just like clone this. It's a conditional variable from the standard. Yeah, don't use it in user tests either directly or indirectly. Well, how about I just copy it? Let's do that. I want it. I'm gonna take it. Notification. What's the license? I think I can do this. I don't think I could. I don't think. I mean, this is not very long, but I'm not gonna just wholesale copy that. I'm gonna have to do something else. I have to write it from scratch. Although I'll talk to some people about that. Okay, so I can't use this, but we've got to the point where we can mock this thing out. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just sleep. I'm going to do something really silly for now. We're going to just run a sleep for a little bit. We're gonna block the main thread. Can I just do PR sleep? Maybe I can. Milliseconds to interval. Can I just do this? PR sleep 5,000, and then I'm going to assert that it was called. So this is not notification. We're gonna expect call. Why can't I have this? I want this. Where are you? Where's this defined? I want this. Doesn't look like it's included though. Gtest. Google test. Class notification. That's internal. This is allows control. Oh wait, no. This is just a okay. No, what I want. Actually, there was another what was it? Wait for notification with timeout. Where is that? Yeah. See, I don't think it's in here. I don't think it's... Oh, third party. WebRTC's third-party code has it. What is this? Abseil. README. C++ common libraries. Open source collection. C++ code. What is Absol? Just a bunch of stuff. Can I bring that in? That'd be lovely. I'll need to check on that. But so it sounds like there's some precedence. Like they bring it in from WebRTC. I'm gonna have to talk to some people about this. We might also have our own constructs that we can use. Like, why didn't I just use a lock? How about we just use a lock, gang? Like, why do I have to, or a monitor? I don't exactly remember. Yeah, I want a monitor. Like there was something called a monitor inside of, was it Hang Child? Hang Monitor. Preprocess Hang Monitor, and I think there was something called a monitor. A monitor, Mozilla Monitor, and I think we can use this. Monitor provides non-reentrant monitor, not a Java style monitor. If your code needs support reentrancy, use reentrant monitor instead. Directly use mine. Safer and simpler. Instead, use the RAII wrappers monitor auto lock and monitor auto unlock. Right. Get the monitor, create, hold a lock. I see. Okay. So what we can do actually is have this thing have a lock, or a monitor rather. A monitor, and we'll get a getter for it. Monitor. Yeah, Mozilla monitor reference. We'll just call it get monitor. And then, oh, this one's like static. That's not exactly what I want here. Lock. Thread observer, get monitor. get monitor, return M monitor. Okay, so then what we could do is anytime we enter here, what are we going to do? We wait for the promise, any promises to resolve. Oh, okay, hold on. We basically need this thing to notify us whenever it's done with the monitor. And what does the monitor allow us to do that? Notify. So like, let's get the monitor. Monitor. I'm going to end this stream shortly. I apologize, we're going over a little bit here. Get the auto lock. What other helpers do we have? Monitor auto lock, single writer auto lock. Single writer auto lock, auto unlock. I think I need to know. I think I need to. Yeah, wait. That's what I want. Monitor. Okay, so. Try lock. Wait. Conditional variable. Monitor. Let's see here. Monitor mon equals. Can I? Is this the right? I don't know if this is right. Let's find out. Builder get monitor. And then what I want to do is say I expect that the test backend will be called with set app ID u test application ID. And then once done, we'll notify, and then I'm going to wait. Mon.wait. All right. I don't know if this is going to work. Let's see if it builds. And then, will it build? And then I'm calling it. I've wanted to write this test for so long, and we're now just kind of oh, come on. What are you so sad about? Did you? Oh, okay, sorry. You need to know what I mean. My bad. All right, try again. Oh, and then it ran it. Gmod warning. Uninteresting mock function call. Returned default value. Function call. Yeah, it got called. That's good. That's what we wanted. But it was uninteresting. What does that mean again? Uninteresting. A mock function with no expectation is called an uninteresting call. Oh, I see. Okay, so I need to do this first, actually. And then what else did I need? It's still complaining about something. Error, call of deleted constructor of monitor. Oh, no, monitor has been explicitly marked deleted here. Monitor builder, get monitor. It does not like what I'm doing here. Maybe you want a pointer. Maybe that's what you want. I don't actually know if that's true. This obvious. Did I mean to use right? I meant to use wait. Also, it doesn't know what mon is. Right. Oh, this is a pain in the butt. So we've got a problem here. Oh, the back end. Okay. Mon equals not the builder, it's the back end that has the monitor. Test back end gets the monitor. I don't know why it was happy with that. We want it from the test back end, get the monitor. And then, yeah, mon. Maybe it's just this mod copy. Maybe we just want to copy. You need to give monitor a name. It's called mon. Not sure what. Maybe I'm missing something. Not sure what you mean. Error call of 28. Call to delete constructor of monitor. Name as in first argument to constructor. Oh. Wait, what? Really? Monitor. Is that true? So I do. So I do. You're right. You're right. That's back end. And monitor. Is that the right format? Was it? Colon. And then that's it. Something like that. Somehow it's still running these things. I have a feeling it's running the old version of it that had built. Like the build failure is not causing the whole thing to sort of quit. It just goes, well, okay, well, I'll run the last thing you built. Call the deleted constructor of monitor. Yeah, I don't think I'm doing it right. I think if I'm returning a reference like this, it ends up being a pointer. So I want to do mon notify wait. Special shout out to everyone in the chat today. So happy to have you here. Great questions in the chat. We talked a lot about some interesting stuff. We got somewhere. We're still struggling a little bit with this pattern. Conversion from monitor. Get monitor. So this is supposed to be a reference then? Did I do this wrong? C++. I'm a JavaScript developer. I don't want monitor. Okay, Ocris, yeah. I don't normally have to deal with this. Ah! I just want it to build. I want to see it work. Then I'm going to commit it and call it a day. At least for the stream. It's still not liking it. I think it's because no member named Gmod set app ID. This is different. On line 85. Did I mean to use arrow instead of dot? Something about how I'm using Okay. Yeah, okay. I'm doing this part wrong. How do I... Was it expect call? Expect call. Okay, PC. Expect call. Do I need to be passing it instead this? Expect call this. Mike doing Mel Blanc, doing Bugs, doing Daffy. Oh wait, sorry, I read the they dereference the first argument. Test backend, I would say. They dereference the first argument. What you saying? What you saying, Ocris? Test. You would say star test backend. Really? Oh, yeah. Okay. Expect call. All right, let's see it. Please. Deeply upsetting. All right. I think I'm going to have to end the stream here. We're going to have to figure this out next week. No candidate function not viable. No known conversion from NS AutoString to a matcher. Testing matcher. Yeah, it's this. I'm not doing this right, and I don't know how I do this correctly. What was it? expect call. I need to see some more examples. Expect call. Start object. Expect call. Set app ID. And then some operation? Equals. Maybe that's what it wants. EQ. Start up. Like, what is that? Expect call, and then you pass it a thing. Typed equal. Do we have anything about like NS string? NSA string? Ugh. Deeply upsetting. All right, I feel like we're so close. Ooh, maybe that's what it wants. Testing using testing. I really want, I know I said I was gonna end the stream like 5 minutes ago, but I really want this. I want you to see the victory. I want us to get there, right? I want to break free. No, this is not happening. Okay, fine. You want, okay. I'm sure there's a way that I can say, just give me all of testing. Using testing. Was it just like underscore? Well, this is a mystery. Will no member function call? No matching member function to call to will once. That's different. All right. Well, I'll have to investigate that next time. Thanks again for watching. Oh man, I want this so bad. But I'm gonna save this for next time. We're gonna save this for next time. Ocris is like, you can do it. Underscore is an identifier. Oh, I could use underscore. Okay, to bring everything in. But I don't think that's the problem. I think what I need to do is do a better job of reading how to say what the expectations are here, and what to do whenever it's not just a primitive, it's not just a number. This is what's called an NS auto string. So I think I just need to read this part, and we will take care of that. You might have a parenthesis issue with before .will once. Do I? I don't think so. No, that looks all right. Expect that. Expect call. Will. Maybe I don't take any arguments. What about then? Again, I'm getting sucked into this. I'm going to end the stream here. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching episode 333 of The Joy of Coding. Special shout out to Elad Difficult, who was in the chat. Anyone else who happened to stick it out from the beginning to the end of the stream, I really appreciate it. I know this was a bit of a slog, but we got somewhere. We dealt with a bunch of bunch of garbage. And we'll see what we deal with next week. I know we're gonna figure this out next week. 2 1's action. No matching member function. Version from Lambda. 2 1's action. Long const char. No, I'm getting sucked in again. We will talk about this next week. I'm going to keep this machine the way it is, and have yourselves a great week. We will see you in episode 334. Take care, everybody. I hope you have an awesome week and that you figure some stuff out. Bye-bye.
The joy of coding.
See ya.